There is no pain quite like feeling ignored or disrespected by your own grandchildren. You've watched them grow, supported them, and loved them unconditionally, yet now it feels as though they don't value your presence or the wisdom you have to offer. Maybe they don't call as often as you like, or when they're around, they seem distracted or indifferent. It hurts, and it's easy to feel helpless in these moments. But here's the good news. This situation can change. Disrespect or distance from your grandchildren isn't a permanent state. It's often a sign of generational misunderstandings, changing dynamics, or simply life pulling them in different directions. What's important to remember is that there are effective ways to rebuild respect and connection with your grandchildren, no matter how distant or dismissive they may seem. In this video, we're going to explore practical strategies that work. These aren't about forcing respect or demanding attention. They're about fostering understanding, opening communication, and creating a bond that your grandchildren will want to nurture as much as you do. By the end, you'll have tools to not only address the current challenges, but also lay the foundation for a stronger, more meaningful relationship in the future. You're not alone in this journey. Many grandparents face this challenge, but with the right approach, the dynamic can shift in ways you may not have thought possible. So, stay with us as we uncover actionable steps that will help you regain respect, rebuild connection, and deepen the bond with your grandchildren. If this resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more advice on strengthening family relationships. Let's take the first step toward turning things around. You have the power to make it happen. Let's begin. When your grandchildren don't show you the respect or attention you deserve, it can feel deeply hurtful. After all, you've invested so much love, care, and time into their lives. But before diving into solutions, it's important to first understand why this might be happening. The truth is, disrespect or distance from your grandchildren is rarely intentional. More often than not, it stems from misunderstandings, generational gaps, or the distractions of today's fast-paced world. Generational gaps, different worlds, different perspectives. One of the most significant reasons for disconnects between grandparents and grandchildren is the generational divide. You grew up in a time when respect for elders was a non-negotiable value, and family relationships were deeply prioritized. However, your grandchildren are growing up in a world dominated by technology, rapidly changing social norms, and constant distractions. Their values and ways of interacting may not align with what you're accustomed to, and that can feel like a lack of respect. For instance, consider how communication has changed. In your generation, a heartfelt conversation or a handwritten letter was the norm. For younger generations, texting or emojis might replace those gestures. If your grandchildren aren't calling or visiting as often, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't care. It might just mean they aren't familiar to you. Understanding this difference is the first step toward bridging the gap. By recognizing that your grandchildren's behavior isn't necessarily disrespectful, but simply different, you can approach the situation with more empathy and less frustration. Communication breakdown, the impact of misunderstandings. Miscommunication is another common issue. You might feel that your grandchildren are ignoring you, but they may not even realize how their actions or lack of actions are affecting you. For example, if they're caught up with school, work, or social activities, they might assume you know how much they care, even if they aren't expressing it outwardly. This assumption can lead to unintentional hurt on both sides. On the flip side, your grandchildren may feel misunderstood by you. They might think that you don't relate to their struggles, interests, or the pressures they face. This perception, whether true or not, can create a barrier in your relationship. Without open communication, these misunderstandings can snowball, leading to frustration and distance. The key here is to address these issues with patience and understanding. By opening the lines of communication, you can clarify your feelings while giving your grandchildren the space to share theirs. A simple conversation can often uncover the root of the disconnect and pave the way for healing. The influence of modern life, technology, and distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, streaming platforms, and endless notifications compete for everyone's attention, including your grandchildren's. While you might see their constant phone use as a sign of disinterest or disrespect, it's important to recognize that technology is a significant part of their daily lives. This doesn't mean you should accept being ignored in favor of a screen, but it does mean approaching the issue with an understanding of the role technology plays. For example, your grandchildren might be more inclined to respond to a quick text than to answer a phone call. Instead of feeling hurt that they're not calling, consider meeting them where they are by using the communication methods they're most comfortable with. This doesn't mean you have to adopt every new trend, but small adjustments can show them that you're willing to connect on their terms. Emotional factors, growing independence and identity. As children grow into teenagers and young adults, they naturally seek independence and explore their own identities. This phase often comes with a shift in priorities, where friends, careers, or personal interests take center stage. It's not that your grandchildren don't love or respect you, they're simply navigating their own paths. This period of independence can sometimes feel like rejection, especially if you're used to a close relationship. However, it's important to recognize that this distancing is a normal part of growing up. Your role as a grandparent is still incredibly valuable, but it may look different than it did when they were younger. Instead of expecting the same level of closeness as before, focus on finding new ways to connect that align with their current stage of life. The first step in addressing the issue of disrespect or distance from your grandchildren is to understand the factors at play. Generational differences, communication breakdowns, modern distractions, and emotional growth all contribute to the dynamic. By approaching the situation with empathy and patience, you create a foundation for rebuilding respect and connection. It's also important to recognize that this isn't about blame. Your grandchildren aren't intentionally trying to hurt you, and you're not at fault for feeling the way you do. The goal is to bridge the gap, not to assign blame. By focusing on understanding rather than judgment, you set the stage for meaningful change. In the next segment, we'll explore actionable strategies for building bridges and fostering respect. These strategies are designed to help you reconnect with your grandchildren in ways that feel authentic and effective. But before we move on, take a moment to reflect. Are there any misunderstandings or generational differences that might be influencing your relationship with your grandchildren? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more advice on strengthening family relationships. Stay with us as we move from understanding the problem to creating solutions that work. You have the power to turn things around, and we're here to help you every step of the way. Let's keep going. When your grandchildren don't show you the respect or attention you deserve, it can be deeply disheartening. But you're not powerless in this situation. There are practical, proven strategies you can use to rebuild that connection and regain their respect. These first 3 strategies focus on fostering understanding, creating positive experiences, and leading by example. They're not about forcing respect. They're about nurturing it naturally through meaningful actions and open communication. Number 1, lead with empathy and curiosity. One of the most effective ways to rebuild respect is to show your grandchildren that you truly understand and value their world. While it's easy to feel frustrated by their behavior, leading with empathy can break down barriers and foster a stronger connection. Consider the story of Margaret, a grandmother who often felt ignored by her teenage grandson Jake. Every time they were together, Jake seemed glued to his phone. Margaret could have scolded him, but instead, she chose to approach the situation with curiosity. She asked Jake about the games he played and the videos he watched. Over time, Margaret learned about Jake's favorite YouTube creators and even joined him for a gaming session. This small effort showed Jake that she cared about his interests, and it opened the door for deeper conversations. The key here is to replace frustration with curiosity. Ask your grandchildren about their passions, hobbies, and daily lives. Show genuine interest, even if their world feels unfamiliar. By making an effort to understand their perspective, you demonstrate respect for them, which often inspires respect in return. Number 2, establish clear boundaries with love. Respect is a two-way street, and it's important to set boundaries when necessary. If your grandchildren are being openly disrespectful, interrupting you, dismissing your opinions, or speaking rudely, it's essential to address it calmly and firmly. Ignoring disrespectful behavior won't solve the problem, but confronting it with love and understanding can make a lasting impact. Take the example of Charles, a grandfather who noticed his teenage granddaughter Emily often rolled her eyes or dismissed him during family conversations. Instead of reacting with anger, Charles waited for a quiet moment to talk to her privately. He said, "Emily, I've noticed that sometimes you don't seem interested in what I'm saying. I want to have a good relationship with you, but I feel hurt when you react that way. Can we work on being more respectful to each other?" Emily was surprised by his calm and direct approach, and it made her reflect on her behavior. Over time, their conversations became more open and respectful. When setting boundaries, it's crucial to avoid sounding accusatory or overly critical. Frame the conversation as a desire to improve the relationship, not as a list of complaints. By addressing the behavior without attacking the person, you create an opportunity for growth and understanding. Number 3, create opportunities for quality time. Building respect and connection often comes down to creating meaningful shared experiences. Spending quality time together allows you to connect on a deeper level, build trust, and foster mutual understanding. The activities you choose don't have to be extravagant, they just need to be intentional. Think about Helen, who felt distant from her 2 teenage grandsons, Liam and Ethan. They rarely visited, and when they did, they seemed uninterested. Instead of waiting for them to initiate contact, Helen decided to take the first step. She invited them to a baking session, knowing they both loved cookies. To her surprise, Liam and Ethan showed up and had a great time learning her recipes, laughing over their kitchen mistakes, and sharing stories from their lives. That small moment became a turning point in their relationship. The time spent together reminded Liam and Ethan of the warmth and wisdom Helen brought to their lives, and they began reaching out to her more often. Creating opportunities for quality time can be as simple as inviting your grandchildren to share a meal, work on a project, or join you for a walk. The goal is to create a space where you can connect without distractions. By investing time in them, you're showing that they matter to you, and that's a powerful way to earn their respect. These three strategies, leading with empathy, setting boundaries, and creating quality time, are about building bridges rather than walls. They require patience, effort, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. But the rewards are worth it. The stories of Margaret, Charles, and Helen are reminders that change is possible when you approach the situation with care and intention. Think about the first step you can take today. Is there a grandchild you can reach out to? An interest of theirs you can ask about? Or perhaps a moment of disrespect you've been avoiding addressing? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your plans for putting these strategies into action. Before we move on to the next segment, where we'll explore 3 more powerful strategies for deepening the connection with your grandchildren, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're here to provide actionable advice to strengthen your family relationships and help you create meaningful connections that last. Let's keep going. You're already taking the first steps toward rebuilding respect and fostering a stronger bond. Stay with us, and let's uncover even more ways to make a positive difference in your relationship with your grandchildren. In the previous segment, we discussed the importance of leading with empathy, setting boundaries with love, and creating opportunities for quality time. These strategies lay the foundation for rebuilding respect and connection with your grandchildren. Now, we'll delve into 3 more powerful approaches to deepen your bond and ensure a lasting, meaningful relationship. These final strategies are about fostering mutual respect, encouraging open communication, and creating shared experiences that leave a lasting impression. Number 4, be a role model for respect and understanding. Work is basically for us, and we expect the same from you. One of the most effective ways to teach respect is to model it yourself. Children and young adults learn a great deal by observing the behavior of those around them. If you demonstrate respect in your interactions, whether with your grandchildren, their parents, or even strangers, you set the standard for how they should treat you and others. Take the example of Robert, a grandfather who often felt frustrated with his grandson Alex, a college student who rarely visited or called. Instead of confronting Alex angrily, Robert decided to lead by example. He made a point of reaching out regularly, not to criticize, but to express genuine interest in Alex's life. He asked about his studies, hobbies, and future plans, always speaking with kindness and respect. Over time, Alex began to notice his grandfather's efforts. Inspired by Robert's approach, Alex started making more time for visits and even initiated phone calls. The respect Robert modeled became a two-way street, strengthening their bond and improving their communication. The lesson here is simple: respect is contagious. When you show patience, understanding, and kindness in your actions, your grandchildren are more likely to reciprocate those behaviors. By being a role model, you teach them the value of respect without needing to say a word. Number 5, adapt to their world. Bridge the generational gap. Another powerful strategy is to meet your grandchildren where they are, by engaging with their world. Generational gaps can create misunderstandings, but they can also be opportunities for learning and connection. By showing interest in their activities, technology, or culture, you demonstrate that you value their experiences and are willing to step out of your comfort zone to connect with them. Consider Eleanor, a 72-year-old grandmother who felt distant from her teenage granddaughter, Mia. Mia spent most of her time on social media, and Eleanor found it difficult to relate to her. Instead of giving up, Eleanor asked Mia to teach her how to use Instagram. What started as a quick tutorial turned into an ongoing project where they shared photos and laughed over old memories. Eleanor even surprised Mia by creating her own posts about family traditions, which Mia proudly shared with her friends. This simple act of adapting to Mia's world not only bridged the gap between them, but also gave Eleanor a new way to stay connected with her granddaughter. The effort you make to understand your grandchildren's world, whether it's through social media, gaming, or pop culture, shows them that you care about their interests. It's a powerful way to foster respect and create lasting memories. Number 6, share your wisdom without preaching. Grandparents often have a wealth of wisdom to share, but how you share it can make all the difference. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or correcting their choices, focus on sharing your experiences in a way that feels conversational and relatable. When your grandchildren feel that your wisdom comes from a place of love and understanding, they're more likely to listen and respect what you have to say. Take Sarah, a grandmother whose grandson Ethan was struggling with career decisions. Instead of telling Ethan what to do, Sarah shared her own story about a time when she faced a similar challenge. She spoke about the doubts she had, the mistakes she made, and how she ultimately found her path. Ethan appreciated her honesty and felt comforted knowing that even his grandmother had faced uncertainty. The key is to frame your wisdom as a story or a lesson rather than a directive. Share your experiences openly, admit your struggles, and offer encouragement. This approach not only builds respect, but also creates a space where your grandchildren feel safe to share their own thoughts and seek guidance. These final 3 strategies, being a role model, adapting to their world, and sharing your wisdom, are about creating a deeper level of connection with your grandchildren. They require patience, understanding, and a willingness to embrace new perspectives. But the results can be transformative. Think about the ways you can apply these strategies to your own life. Is there a hobby your grandchild enjoys that you can learn about? A moment from your past that might inspire them? Or an opportunity to model respect in your interactions? These small efforts can lead to big changes in your relationship. Start with a question. Whether it's about their favorite hobby or a recent challenge, asking questions shows you're interested in their lives. If someone can't answer a question truthfully, it's worth looking for other cues. Use technology as a tool. Learn to text, video call, or share photos online. These small gestures go a long way in bridging the gap. Be honest about your feelings. If you're struggling with a relationship, share your feelings in a calm and loving way. Sometimes, vulnerability can open the door to better communication. Call to action. Rebuilding respect and connection with your grandchildren is a journey, but it's one worth taking. These strategies, along with the ones we discussed earlier, provide a roadmap for strengthening your bond and creating a relationship built on mutual love and understanding. Before we move to the final segment, take a moment to reflect. Which of these strategies resonates most with you? Have you tried similar approaches before? Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're fostering connection with your grandchildren. If you found these strategies helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more advice on strengthening family relationships. Together, we're building bridges and creating connections that will last a lifetime. Stay with us for the final segment, where we'll address potential challenges and offer tips to overcome them. Let's keep moving forward. You're making a difference already, and I'm proud of you. Now, before we begin deeper, as you work on rebuilding respect and connection with your grandchildren, it's important to acknowledge that challenges will arise. Change doesn't happen overnight, and it's natural to encounter resistance, setbacks, or moments of frustration along the way. But don't let these obstacles discourage you. Relationships are a journey, and every effort you make is a step toward a stronger bond. This final segment is about addressing potential challenges and offering practical solutions to overcome them. By staying patient, persistent, and open-minded, you can navigate these obstacles and create meaningful, lasting connections with your grandchildren. Challenge 1: resistance from your grandchildren. One common challenge is resistance. Your grandchildren may not immediately respond to your efforts. They might still seem distant or dismissive, especially if they've grown accustomed to certain patterns of behavior. It's easy to feel disheartened, but remember that change takes time, and persistence is key. Take the story of Nancy, a grandmother who felt ignored by her teenage grandson, Ben. Despite her efforts to reach out, sending texts, inviting him over, and asking about his interests, Ben initially remained aloof. But Nancy didn't give up. Instead of pressuring him, she continued to show interest in his life, sharing funny stories and sending small, thoughtful messages. Slowly, Ben began to warm up, and over time their relationship grew stronger. The lesson here is patience. Your efforts may not yield immediate results, but consistency is powerful. Even if your grandchildren don't respond right away, your persistence shows them that you care and are committed to the relationship. Keep showing up for them, even in small ways. It can make a bigger impact than you realize. Challenge 2: navigating generational differences. Generational gaps can sometimes feel like a barrier, especially when it comes to communication styles or values. Your grandchildren may approach relationships differently than you do, which can lead to misunderstandings or feelings of disconnect. Consider adapting your approach to meet them where they are. For example, if your grandchild prefers texting over phone calls, start by sending short, friendly messages. If they're passionate about a hobby or interest that's unfamiliar to you, take the time to learn about it. By showing that you're willing to embrace their world, you bridge the gap and create opportunities for connection. Eleanor, a grandmother who felt distant from her tech-savvy granddaughter Mia, discovered this firsthand. When Eleanor started asking Mia about her favorite social media platforms, Mia was thrilled to share her interests. Eleanor even joined Mia in creating a TikTok video for fun, and the experience brought them closer together. By stepping into Mia's world, Eleanor demonstrated her willingness to connect on Mia's terms, and it strengthened their bond. Remember, adapting to generational differences isn't about changing who you are. It's about finding common ground. A little effort to meet your grandchildren where they are can go a long way in fostering mutual respect and understanding. Challenge 3: managing your own frustrations. Rebuilding relationships can be emotionally challenging, and it's natural to feel frustrated or hurt at times. If your efforts don't seem to be working, or if your grandchildren's behavior continues to feel dismissive, it's important to acknowledge and manage your emotions. Take a moment to reflect on your feelings. Are you upset because you feel unappreciated? Are you frustrated by their lack of response? Once you identify the root of your emotions, you can address them constructively. Instead of reacting with anger or disappointment, Approach the situation with calm and understanding. Consider the story of Harold, a grandfather who felt ignored by his adult grandchildren. Harold found himself becoming resentful, which only widened the gap between them. To address his feelings, he started journaling about his frustrations and discussing them with a trusted friend. This helped him release his emotions and approach his grandchildren with a fresh perspective. Harold's newfound patience and positivity made a noticeable difference in their interactions. Managing your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means finding healthy ways to process and channel them. When you approach your grandchildren with a calm and positive attitude, it creates a more welcoming environment for connection. Conflict. Challenge 4. Staying consistent despite setbacks. Setbacks are a normal part of any relationship journey. Your grandchildren may respond positively one day and seem distant the next. These fluctuations can be discouraging, but it's important to stay consistent in your efforts. Think of rebuilding respect and connection as planting seeds. Some seeds take longer to sprout than others, and the results may not always be immediately visible. But with time, care, and consistency, those seeds grow into something beautiful. Helen, a grandmother who struggled to connect with her young grandchildren, adopted this mindset. She made it a point to send handwritten notes, plan fun activities, and share stories about their family history. At first, her grandchildren didn't seem particularly interested, but over time, they began to look forward to her letters and visits. Helen's consistency paid off, and her bond with her grandchildren grew stronger than ever. Staying consistent doesn't mean you have to do something grand every day. Small, meaningful gestures, like a kind message, a shared memory, or an invitation to spend time together, can add up to significant change over time. Building respect and connection with your grandchildren is a journey, not a destination. There will be challenges along the way, but each step you take brings you closer to the relationship you desire. By staying patient, managing your emotions, and embracing their world with curiosity and understanding, you're creating a foundation for lasting connection. Remember, it's not about achieving perfection. It's about showing your grandchildren that you care, value, and respect them. Your efforts, no matter how small, demonstrate your love and commitment. And that's what truly matters. As you reflect on these challenges and strategies, think about which one resonates most with you. Are there specific obstacles you're facing in your relationship with your grandchildren? How can you take the first step toward overcoming them? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences and ideas. If you found this advice helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content on strengthening family relationships and building meaningful connections. Together, we're creating a space for growth, understanding, and love. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, your efforts make a difference, and your love is the foundation of a lasting bond. Let's move forward with patience, persistence, and hope, because the best relationships are always worth the effort. Rebuilding respect and connection with your grandchildren isn't always easy, but it's one of the most rewarding journeys you can undertake. By showing empathy, setting boundaries with love, and creating meaningful shared experiences, you're laying the foundation for a stronger, more respectful relationship. And while challenges will arise, remember that your consistency, patience, and willingness to adapt can make all the difference. The bond you share with your grandchildren is special. It's rooted in love, wisdom, and the desire to see them grow into their best selves. By embracing the strategies we've explored and addressing challenges with understanding, you're not just reconnecting with them, you're teaching them valuable lessons about relationships, respect, and the importance of family. As you take these steps, don't forget to celebrate the small wins along the way. A kind word, a shared laugh, or a meaningful conversation is proof that your efforts are making an impact. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to our channel for more advice on building stronger family connections. Thank you for watching. Your love and persistence are the keys to a deeper, more fulfilling bond with your grandchildren. Let's keep moving forward together.